All right, hello, and welcome to Rocky Road to Success. I am Gloria Rand, your host of the program, and this is all about, this Blab show is all about focusing on some of the mistakes that entrepreneurs make along the way when you're just getting started and the lessons learned. So my goal and with the program is to be able to kind of help you shorten that learning curve a little bit. And, you know, we're still going to make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. But if we can, you know, try to help you avoid some of the things that others have done along the way, that will be awesome. And I'm here today flying solo, but it's kind of good because I'm taking over. My co-host Elizabeth Scarcella has usually been holding down the reins for me the last couple of weeks because I've been out of town. But so today she had an emergency come up, so I'm going to hold down the fort and introduce our lovely guest today. And this is the awesome Francia Noble. She is an author, a professional educator, a public speaker, a minister, and the owner of the Noble Group. And there's lots more of her bio, but one part that I caught, I just wanted to read to you because I thought it was so cool. She has the gift of being an encourager with the belief that we are what we believe, and therefore we must speak positive into our lives and into the lives of others so that we can expect positive outcomes. And that is so true. I love that. So I'm so happy that you are here today with us, Francia.
Well, Gloria, let me just say thank you for allowing me to spend this time with you. I know you could have chosen from many other people, so I find it to be a blessing for me that you opened up your arms and your show and said, hey, come on over, we'd love to have you, and it's just awesome to be with you this afternoon. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. So tell us a little bit about, you know, I guess kind of where your journey started a little bit, and, you know, kind of how you got into leading the Noble Group and how you got into doing all the wonderful things that you are. And so what kind of led you to where you are today?
Absolutely. Well, you know, I think I can't even remember when I realized that I was an entrepreneur at heart, or that I didn't want to spend the rest of my professional or working career being responsible to someone else's time and their clock and their dreams. I wanted to actually develop my own. And so I've tried to do that in a number of ways over a long period of time, and have finally found, I think, my true purpose in all of this, in the many things that you mentioned that I'm currently a part of. I think maybe part of this, you know, part of me comes from even growing up as a child. You know, my mother was, especially the speaking part. Whenever there was something going on in our church, my mother thought that we were the kids who needed to be in the spotlight with the microphone, you know, shouting all these speeches and welcomes and different things like that, in terms of what was going on during that celebration. And so it has just developed over the years. It has become a part of who I am, and I don't know that I would actually be that person if it had not been for those early life experiences and the things that I've started to do.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. It is amazing the path that we're kind of led on, even though we don't necessarily realize it at the time. But it does. It makes a huge difference. I've experienced that myself, I know, and but that's cool that you had that. Our parents are big influences on our lives, so that's really cool.
Yes, they are, in more ways than they realize, and that we ever give them credit for as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But so that's kind of, well, when did you, I guess, maybe decide then really officially to be an entrepreneur? Because you said you kind of had to start when you were young, but what kind of pushed you over, and then maybe even share with us kind of, you know, one or two of the things. hit along the way?
I think the thing that pushed me over the edge, and I want to say it was likely around 2007 or so that I really believed, came to understand, okay, I'm supposed to be doing some different things. I was, of course, in corporate America, not able to advance in my current position, not moving around, not doing anything new, not learning, which is such a huge part of who I am as an educator. I'm always in that mode of learning new things. And so it was very stagnant. The company was going through some transitions. We didn't know what was going to happen with those, and just got an opportunity to actually teach as a contract employee. And so I think that was the first time that I truly believed that, okay, I can branch out on my own and begin to do some of the things that I want to do, that I enjoy doing, that I'm passionate about doing, and even learn some new things. I even had a business associate say, you would be really good at XYZ. I won't go into any details what she said to me, but I said, are you sure about that? And so it was, again, someone else speaking that into me that made me take that inner look at myself, where I was going and where I wanted to be headed at that time in my life. Yeah. And just over the years, it has just grown into the things that I'm currently doing. As I'm sure you know, hasn't always been easy, but it's certainly been well worth the ride.
Well, that's good. Yeah, absolutely. It is interesting how other people will pick up on things that maybe we don't see necessarily, and kind of hold that mirror up to ourselves and go like, oh yeah, I guess I'm good at that, or I never really thought about it. That's interesting.
Of course. And we need those people. We do. I feel like we do need them sometimes. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. So when you finally then made the leap and decided to, kind of branch out on your own, I guess at some point you decided to leave the corporate world then, or have you? Or are you still doing a little bit?
Well, I've left and I've just recently come back into the current position that I'm holding. And again, it's my desire that it will be short-lived, but well worth it while I'm here. So.
That's good. So did you find any particular challenge, when you first were starting out, once you did leave the corporate world, was there anything that, you're like, especially like if you look back on it now, you're like, oh, I wish I'd done this differently, or I wish I'd known, then what I know now kind of thing?
I think the one thing for me is to enlist the help of other people. I'm certainly, in the early days of trying to make all these things happen, I was very private about what I was trying to accomplish. I was trying to do all of it on my own, which I know many of us are doing still, but not recognizing when I actually needed the help. I think that was the biggest challenge for me. Learning when to say, okay, let it go, hire someone, enlist the help of someone, whatever the case may be, to make sure that the job gets done the best that it can get done. I think that was one of the main hurdles that I had to tackle, because I am the person who wants to be in control, because of course, I think if I don't do it, it's not going to be done correctly. But letting go of that was my biggest hurdle.
Yeah, that's a refrain we've heard, actually, I think a few times on this show, and certainly something I can relate to. Absolutely, I still find it, that I still am reluctant for some silly reason. It's like I know in my head that I need to get help, but then actually taking the opportunity and doing it is gets to be a little bit more challenging to do that. So I'm glad that you recognize that. So did you hire, like, maybe you look at hiring like a virtual assistant or something, or what, were you able to finally kind of do that step and be able to get some help?
Well, I decided what would work best for me. I still manage my own calendar, all of those other things. But it was the different services, graphic arts, technology makes us feel like everyone can be a graphic designer and we can all do it. We can do websites, we can do our print media, all that stuff. And it's simply not true. If that's not your forte, let it go. I mean, you will save yourself a too many sleepless nights, so many headaches, and you'll cut back on the caffeine needed to keep going through the day when nothing seems to be going right and you can't get those links to work in the background.
Mm-hmm.
That was the thing. Just realizing, okay, this is not a strong point for me. And it's okay for me to admit it's not a strong point. And let's figure out who do we need to call to make sure that we can get the task accomplished.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I can so relate to that. I actually worked with a coach one time, and and part of what I do is writing content for business websites, and and I was saying, oh, and maybe I can help them. Sometimes I've had to actually upload it onto the website, and she's like, do you really want to do web design? And I was like, no. It's like, I know enough HTML to be dangerous, but no, I don't want to do it. And luckily now, my daughter does that, so I can refer people to her.
Awesome.
Yeah, which is wonderful. So I don't have to worry about doing this anymore. So I'm like really happy.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. I completely understand. But if you're like me, you're used to being the one in charge, and you want to just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And that even not even recognizing it's a weakness in some cases, but even recognizing that it's so physically and mentally draining at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You're not sleeping, you're not eating properly, all of those things begin to take a toll on your body.
Yeah.
So where do we draw the line?
Mm-hmm.
Where do we draw the line? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely have seen that as well, and a lot of other people. So it's good that you finally recognize that, and I think that's so important. So tell me a little bit more about what you're doing now, because I know that you are well, actually, tell me a little bit about that book, because you've got a new book that you have out. I'd love to hear a little bit about that.
I have a new book out. It's my first. And the title is Doing Business God's Way. Mm-hmm. It's a collection of devotionals aimed at the entrepreneur. Over the years, what I found in working with ministry and with spiritual organizations is that so many of us who are aiming to be business persons on our own think that in order for us to be successful, we have to leave our spiritual selves at home. And I'm finding that that's simply not true. Even in my classroom, when I started teaching, and I teach college students, when I started teaching, I said, that doesn't belong in my classroom, so I'll never bring that part of me into my classroom. Mm-hmm. But yet, when the opportunity presented itself, and it did, it was amazing to me how many of my students began to connect with me on that level. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them, I'm still friends with them today. That may have been years ago, but through social media, we keep in contact, we keep in touch about what's going on. And for me, it made a huge difference in how I reacted to them, in how I interacted with them in the classroom, as well as outside. I've been to networking events where, again, I've made it known, that my spiritual life is very important to me as a business owner. No, that does not mean that I'm beating you over the head with scriptures, but I hope that I'm conducting my way in such a manner that it's clear to you that path is very important to me. Mm-hmm. And again, I've met people who've like, wow, thank you so much for sharing that part of you with me. I've never had anybody to be open enough to actually do that. Mm-hmm. And it's a wonderful experience. It's something special for me. And I hope that the people who I've shared it with begin to feel the same way.
That's terrific. Yeah, it is something interesting that people are sort of reluctant to do that. But at the same time, I think there's also a real yearning for it out there. I think there are people who really are wanting to be more spiritual. I know we've kind of talked about that on this show in the past. We've had some folks on, and our conversations have kind of gotten that way into talking more about spiritual.
Right.
And it's, you can't, being in business, it's still all about relationships and being able
Absolutely.
to, so when you can be yourself and be authentic, that's going to make a big difference too in how people are going to be able to relate to you. So I applaud you for, being willing to, to show that side of yourself, and you've seen that it is making a difference in your life. So
it has made a huge difference. And let me just tell you, Gloria, years ago, when I first sat down and said, I think I want to write a book. I think there's a book in me. it was not the book that I intended to write. I had no ideas, of course, what the book would be about when the idea first came to me. But as time went on, it became evident that this was where it was going to lead me, that it would have to be something that was speaking to the spiritual side of me. And last year, when I finally sat down after procrastinating for a couple of years in starting and getting it done, this is what came out of me. And I think it's a good read, if I can say that myself. I enjoyed doing it. It's gotten some wonderful reviews in terms of those who purchased it and read it. And I'm looking forward to the next one.
Cool. That's awesome. So where can we get it? Is it on Amazon, or is it on your website, or how can people get that?
It is
put in
Amazon.com.
Okay.
And again, it's Doing Business God's Way. Of course, by me, Francia Noble. There is a picture of a briefcase on the front to even give the illusion that, okay, wait, is this business? Is it spiritual? What exactly is it? So hats off to my graphic designer and her special ways of marrying those two worlds together.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, good. Yeah, I just put it in our chat box here so people will be able to see it. And when this interview is over too, I will put this on my website, and I'll also put a link to it there so that way people.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Good deal. Let's see. I'm trying to think what else I wanted to ask you about. Let me go. Oh, I know what I wanted to ask about. So if you were, well, actually two things. Maybe number one is, if you were starting business today, let's say you decided that you were going to go out on your own, is there any particular piece of advice that you would give yourself, or for others who are thinking about launching their own business? What I think you probably kind of touched on a little bit earlier, but is there maybe anything else? I know you talked about the importance of, getting help, not relying on doing it yourself. But is there maybe any other thing that you come across that you think would be good for people to know?
I think do the research. Depending on the business that you're going into, make sure that it's not just your side hobby, as we all get tied up into for a little while, but make sure that it's something you can actually provide a service or a product, and it's needed, that you'll actually have people to provide that service or product to. I think sometimes we start a business because we're passionate about the idea, and we think everyone else is going to be passionate, and that's not always the case. Now, that's not to say that you can't take that idea and maybe begin to tweak it just a tad so that it does apply to more individuals, so that more people are actually responsive to what it is that you now have to offer. Not just driving it because, oh, this is what I enjoy doing, because that may get you into a little bit of trouble.
Right.
And I've certainly had that happen with me as well in other adventures. It was what I wanted to do without any regard to who I was going to be offering the product or service to. And I think that's an important piece of, any business. Who's going to buy it? Who's going to buy into the service? Who needs my product, and how can I best get it to them that way?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know like I said, maybe even when I've been at different conferences and talking with people, a lot of times, folks will say, oh, well, I got this great idea for a product, but, and I know it's going to be great because nobody has done this product at all. There's nothing like it ever. And, so I'm sure it's going to be great. But the problem is that you've got an even harder road to hoe because nobody knows about it. So
because nobody knows about it.
Yeah.
Right. Because no one's ever done it. That may be the very question that you need to answer. Why hasn't anyone done something similar to it?
Right.
May not necessarily the same product, but why hasn't someone else tackled this issue?
Yeah.
And that's a hard question to answer sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And the same kind of the flip side of it is, some people are like, well, oh, everybody is doing this business already, why should I do it? Well, because everybody is doing that business, is probably a good idea, because it shows there's a market for it. So
there's a market and it's working.
Yeah.
And then the question becomes, well, what can I do just slightly different to enhance the business if I'm going to get on this bandwagon? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, because then you're going to have to kind of tap into what's unique about you and what your unique. Right? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So good. I'm so glad we're on the same page.
So am I.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. So we've talked about that. So tell me a little bit about. So you do some. I know you do some speaking and whatnot. So what else is your passion right now? What if you what are you truly passionate about to bring it into the world right now?
I'm currently working on my speaking brand. I've been a member of Toastmasters for a number of years. Again, going back to my childhood days when I was speaking in front of crowds and didn't have a fear or care in the world about how I did it. I just knew I was supposed to and enjoyed doing it. And so that's the piece of me that I'm now working on, is getting out there more. Certainly, as I'm promoting the book, doing interviews with wonderful people like yourself and others, and just making sure that people are aware of the message that I'm trying to put out there. And that message being, as part of my bio, what you read, is that we all have that capability within ourselves to become what it is that we want to become. It may take people speaking the positive into us for us to realize that. It may take us further educating ourselves, or simply spending time developing the spiritual person within us to find that gift. And that's what's happening with me right now.
Cool.
It's
Awesome.
going to be a busy summer with coming up and trying to get some additional writing on top of that.
Okay.
So it's going to be exciting now.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Awesome. Well, let's see. I know we had a couple people in now. I guess. Oh, we had someone that I guess they popped out. I was going to see if anybody wanted to have any questions for us today, but
Absolutely.
yeah. But I do see someone's. Yeah. So if you do have a question, just type in. I think you have to do the letter Q, and then the / and type your question, and or if you want to even jump into the conversation. I haven't done that yet. Has had somebody else jump in. We'd love to have you. So I think that's. He wants to. Oh, okay. His internet signal is poor. Oh, but he says hello from West Africa. How wonderful. Well, hello to you.
Wow, I see that. Oh my gosh. Wow, isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
Hello from West Africa. Awesome. I don't think he can hear us. At least that's, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'll type in and say we're happy to have you anyway. That's the wonderful thing about, despite all of the, craziness and unpleasantness in the world we live in, there's also a lot of good. And technology, to be able to have people, listening from West Africa. And I'm in Florida. Where are you based?
I'm based in Texas.
Okay,
to think we can all come together.
I know, it's so incredible. I just love it. So this is where it's nice to have someone else on. See, that's why when I purposely set up this program was to have a co-host, because I knew trying to multitask was going to be challenging, but I'm powering through today. Hey, I've still got my phone going. But it's
working out well.
Yeah, it's all good, and I do appreciate having help, but sometimes you got to power through and do it yourself. So well, I guess we can probably wrap up here. I don't know if there's any other words of wisdom you'd like to impart before we go today, but it's been really great having you on the program and sharing some of your experiences with us.
I know people say it all the time, but something that I'm learning and trying to embrace more these days is just taking care of self. We give so much to other people, and we're almost on empty when we realize that we need to refuel ourselves. Whatever that looks like, whether it's hanging out on the beach in Florida or coming to the hill country in Texas, whatever that looks like, just to take care of yourself. You only get this one shot, and I just hope that we're all making the absolute best of it.
Yeah, that is awesome advice. I love that, because whether it's meditating or just like you said, going for a walk or grabbing a book to read.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if we spend some time with family or friends, we absolutely have to take care of each other. Take care of ourselves, I should say.
Yeah.
Then we can take care of each other too. So that's
Yeah. And even when you're running a business, you still have to take care of self.
Oh, absolutely. Because if you don't, who's going to run the business? So you have to take care of yourself. For sure. All right. Well, I appreciate you being here today on our Blab, and I'm just pulling up my little notes here, my little cheat sheet here. Trying to scroll down here. Oops. All right. Where is it? I have a little. Okay. I guess I have to go because it's being obnoxious. All right. Okay. There we go. Okay. All right. Yes. Okay. Now I know what I was going to say. So next week, our guest is going to be life coach Cassie Eubank, and she is awesome. I actually did an interview with her a few months back earlier this year, and she's a very cool person, so I'm looking forward to having her on the program next week, and hopefully Elizabeth will be here as well, because she always adds some unique perspective and has some awesome questions too. So I appreciate her filling in, and we would love to have you back sometime. And maybe if you want to, participate and be listen in next week, we'd love to have you come back, Francia.
Absolutely. Yeah. I would love to do that.
All right, cool. So until next time, I am Gloria Rand, the Client Attraction Authority, and I'm encouraging all to live right, shine bright, and make a positive impact today.